Welcome to the Patriot Barbie podcast. This show is made possible by Spreely Media. Download the Freedom Hub app today and join the free speech movement. I want to thank the people and the companies that keep my show going. All my sponsors can be found on patriotbarbie.com on my shop page. Century H2O, water systems for your home that provide clean, toxic-free, fluoride-free, and pharmaceutical-free drinking water for your family and pets for under $300. Dylan's Restaurants has been a proud podcast partner for years, and the owner is my personal friend. With 4 locations throughout Arizona, you'll always find one to dine at and love, especially the zoo. Well, especially the ranch. Well, maybe the one floating on Lake Pleasant. Dang it, they're all good. Support your freedom-loving businesses, and please check out Dylan's Restaurants. Small business owners, claim your employee retention tax credit for 2020 and 21 with an accountant you can trust. If you don't know what this is, you could be missing out on hundreds of thousands of dollars. Go to patriotbarbie.com and click on my partners page to read up. My Freedom Cart, a conservative-owned, made-in-America, toxic-free company that lets you shop online and delivers everything to your front door. Clean products, protein, snacks, hair care, makeup, toiletries. Dude, ditch Amazon, keep the perks, and support a pro-life and pro-freedom company. myfreedomcart.com. My beautiful smile is brought to you by Dr. Daniel Slike. His dental team is passionate, detailed, gentle, and clearly very talented. My entire smile has been restored to stunning, and I owe it all to him. He's right here in Scottsdale, and consults are free. Go to patriotbarbie.com, look him up, and schedule your free consultation. Are you worried about spike proteins? If not, you should be. Get the spike formula developed by experts like Dr. Peter McCullough from the Wellness Company by going to twc.health/patriotbarbie. Listeners of my podcast can use code PatriotBarbie at checkout for a discount. You guys, once again, you can find all my partners, my makeup line, my Patriot wine, my merch company, and the Freedom Cart at patriotbarbie.com under the shop page. Now, are you ready to get started? Let's go. Welcome to the Patriot Barbie podcast. I'm your host, Lindsey Graham, author and conservative activist. I love Jesus. I love America. I'm a proud wife, mom of 3, and I'm having bold and witty conversations with America's patriots, the ones that cancel culture desperately want to blacklist. Trust me, I've been there. In 2020, I defied government lockdowns in Oregon, reopened my salon, and became an icon of freedom. I've been targeted by government and raging liberals every day since, and I refuse to back down. Patriots, I'm here to tell you, your values are worth fighting for. The Patriot Barbie podcast starts now. Welcome to the Patriot Barbie podcast. Get a pen, get a paper. You are going to write this stuff down because for the last few months, I have been speaking about spike proteins, the jab, what it's done, what it's doing. And right now, I'm being labeled a conspiracy theorist. Shocking. So what I did was, instead of trying to follow the science myself or go get a medical degree, I brought in an expert. And what I'm going to do is chop the heck out of this episode and show the world that we are not crazy. So today I have Dr. Jen VanDeWater. She is with the Wellness Company, who I am a proud partner with. If you want to check it out, go to twc.health/patriotbarbie. I also will have a tile on my website for you at patriotbarbie.com. So Dr. Jen VanDeWater was a doctor of pharmacy. She graduated pharmacy college in 2006 and has worked in the pharmacy profession since 1998. Like I said, expert. She began her journey as a pharmacy technician, and loving this line of work, she understood that she would have a greater impact if she were a qualified pharmacist. So she changed her college major and graduated Adirondack Community College in 2001. And after graduating, transferred to Albany College of Pharmacy, became a New York licensed pharmacy intern. She graduated Albany College of Pharmacy in 2006 with a doctorate of pharmacy and became a licensed, registered, practicing pharmacist in the state of Maine from 2006 to 2009. In 2009, Dr. Jen became licensed as a registered pharmacist in the states of Vermont and New York, and has been practicing between both states since leaving the practice in 2020. Hear that out, leaving the practice. Known as the People's Pharmacist, Dr. Jen spent many years witnessing the health crisis that has led to today. She is now partnered with the Wellness Company in May of 2022 as the VP of Pharmacy. Oh, I can't wait to dig into this. Dr. Jen, welcome to the show.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
Yes, this is quite an impressive resume. Now, I am just Patriot Barbie. So if I talk about spike proteins and spike support and shedding, people are like, move along, little girl, move along. You're just a podcaster. But you, I mean, you are the expert here. So, I mean, where do you want to start with either where this came from or what it's doing or the goal here is not to scare people. I mean,
Right.
you know that. The goal is I tell people, hey, if you're on your period, I'm going to offer you a tampon. If you have a headache, I'm going to offer you an aspirin.
Yeah.
This is happening, so I'm offering you something. So what is shedding for people who are just literally not paying attention? What is shedding?
Yeah. Well, it's definitely something I've started looking back and questioning if it was something that just occurred now or has this been something that's been happening for a while. And I think there's just with our eyes being open and becoming questioners of what the narrative is, I think we're looking back, at least for me, I'm going back in the past into all my training and saying, is this something that just started or has this been around for a while? But what we're seeing shedding is that those spike proteins, whether it's through breathing it out, exhaling it, sexual contact, skin on skin contact by sweat, that these spike proteins are being transmitted and transferred from one individual to another. And they wreak havoc. They bring up inflammation in the body. They add stress to the body, oxidative stress. They are not good. So just when you think spike, you automatically should think bad.
Yeah.
And it's a bad protein that causes damage in the body.
And so spike proteins, did this come from just we got to think of a code word so we don't get banned on YouTube.
Yeah.
How about the code word is like bow? I got a bow on my shoulder. Did this come from the bow jab or like all jabs, or is spike proteins, can it be found anywhere else?
Yes. So there are proteins on viruses just naturally, right? Okay,
Okay.
they're there. So I don't even know if we could say in this one.
Yes, perfect. We all know what you're talking about.
Okay, good. Well, no, they'll get my lingo. Okay.
They will.
This one, the spike is there. It's one of the proteins. And so when someone is just sick, this was what enters the cell and replicates, and our bodies build up a defense and we can break it down because it's only in specific cells. But with the bow, when the bow comes along and people say, I'm taking this, that is genetically coded so that these spikes enter all cells through the lipid nanoparticle that encapsulates the spike. And so that's where it's wreaking havoc. And it crosses the blood-brain barrier. So that, again, too, and it's causing the body to continue manufacturing these over time. So it's not like when you get sick and you have it and your body fights it, which we do see with long haul patients have higher amounts, I would say, of that spike because their body's reproducing it. But again, our immune system comes in, we're taking medication, our body's not genetically altered, I guess to say, to keep manufacturing.
Okay.
With that bow, your body is now seeing it and it's making it. It's reading it differently because it's a genetic modifying injection. That's what's happening here. And so now your body is constantly making these. And so our body has a lot, and now it's kind of like, my husband describes it like this, and I think most people will get this. Linus from the cartoon, he's got that little dog around him.
Yes.
That's the only way I could visually put it for people to see it. And that's what's happening. We've got this around us. And so when we come in contact with those who are not bowed and those who are, you come in contact with them, you're going to be getting that. It's going to come into it's going to happen. You're going to get it into your body.
Okay. So a lot of the questions that I've been seeing online have been, can you develop spike proteins? And let's go back to calling it the jab. So when I share all this content, people aren't like, what's a bow? That was so dumb of me.
That's okay.
Let's just call it the jab. You were doing very well. I was impressed. So people that get the jab have the Linus fluff of spike proteins. There's two questions that people are asking. If you got COVID, do you also have spike proteins it's just from the jab, right?
Well, it is on the virus itself. So if you've had
Okay.
COVID, yes, but your body, so in the jab, it's genetically modified to keep reproducing.
Oh my
When you
gosh.
just have a sickness, your body naturally comes in and will not stay and keep, it's not modified. So it's not modified to keep reproducing over and over and over again.
Okay. That makes
Hopefully that's
sense.
making sense. Yeah.
So yeah, so if I had COVID, which, of all the things that I didn't change in my life, I've never been able to verify if I've even have had COVID. If I had it, I might have spiked proteins, but then they would sort of dissipate because I had a virus and it went away.
Your immune
But
system can fight,
okay.
correct.
Okay.
Mhm.
So now we've determined that spike proteins exist and that they exist in people who have gotten that jab and that they shed onto people who have not gotten that jab. And I hear that they're bad. But what is it doing? What is it causing?
So it's the same kind of reaction, I guess you would look at as if you got sick. So your body has an immune backing now. So now you're seeing things like headaches, dizziness. Some people have increased bruising.
Interesting.
So and some people have gotten even sick. Like so you actually will come down with something and it could be a cold, it could be a full-blown virus again, because people are saying I've gotten COVID multiple times. Well, is it, these are some of the questions just having, is it due to that? I know for myself, after, and I didn't get it confirmed, but just from what I've heard, I lost my taste and smell, right? So I knew it was categorized as COVID, but I personally would never go, I don't need to be tested to see if I have it. I just knew. So after that, I think everyone's like, oh, you're going to be fine, you're going to be immune. Well, I'll tell you, I have never been more sick since I had COVID. And then going out in public, every time I go out and I'm around people for prolonged amounts of time, whether I know they are, jabbed or not, I can end up sick. And I've been pretty sick at times. And so I needed to know what could I do to protect myself, because these are just things I noticed. And I think for me, I'm just more aware. And I don't know, I'm sure your audience is as well, because they're listening to you. So they're awake, asking questions. I'm sure they're paying attention to their bodies more than they probably had in years past. So that's what led me to even, like, again, going back into the past, I questioned this idea of shedding, because obviously as a pharmacist, we work in the pharmacy and we give out the flu shot every year. I personally never took the shot, but I worked around colleagues who, every place I've worked, you always say, hey, you get it free. You work here, you get a free shot. I just chose not to, but it was funny how once those shots started happening, then the flu arrived.
Mm-hmm.
So
Yeah.
it just has me questioning, was this shedding phenomenon something that's been happening prior to this? We're just now seeing things and paying attention more and questioning more, where before we were kind of just following the narrative, not aware of what was really happening.
Yeah. I mean, just even as you say that, I think about my whole life, and I'm 42 now, and how I would go to the doctor who I trusted, my doctor, and oh well, while you're here, you want the flu shot? And I'm like, sure, give me the flu shot. I mean, it's like someone's offering you a snack. When you're not paying attention, you're like, yeah, you know what? I might as well get it. You're my doctor and you're suggesting it. I did it when I was pregnant. And now I think it's so wild how much has changed in 3 years. And I always use myself as kind of a baseline because I was the kind of person that I am trying to reach now, which is like, wake up, pay attention. And I wasn't. And I think, yeah, I was like, give me the flu shot, whatever. And now I'm like, don't you touch me with a needle. I don't trust you anymore. We have seen that you can't be trusted.
Yeah,
So I have one more spike protein question, which I'm sure we'll come back around to, but then I want to dive into some of your move over to out of big pharma.
sure.
Are you saying that um, if you got COVID, that you are more likely to be susceptible to spike proteins effects around crowds? Is that a true or false statement?
I don't know.
Okay.
That's just for me. What I've noticed for myself is yes. And I
Okay.
think this is where people have to individually do a check mark in their mind and say, okay, did I have this? Do I notice this? What's happening? And if they wanted to, they can come to the wellness company and see one of our providers and ask those questions and see, like, hey, maybe I am more sensitive now that I've had this. I just know for myself, yes, I have never been as sick as I've been in the last few years. And the only thing I can say, I have not, like, I've never been on a flu shot. I have not
Mhm.
taken the COVID shot. So it makes you wonder, why is my immune system now a little weaker? And I'm doing everything I can to keep it strong. Like, now that I'm aware of this, I'm like, okay, what can I do for myself to be strong? So I don't know if that's a scientific, yes, no,
Yeah.
whatever, true, false, but I think people just need to pay attention to their own bodies.
Right. And when you say scientific, I know that people don't know who to trust anymore. I mean, I certainly trust the wellness company, certainly because of every, background that the background of all the doctors and nurses, as well as the steps you guys have taken to move away from big pharma. But, I gauge a lot of my science now on what I'm reading. I hate this, right? But this is real life. What I'm reading on Instagram. And a lot of people are saying what you're saying, which is I never got COVID, or I never got jabbed, or I've never been sick before. And I am always sick now. And a lot of people are saying that. And there's no reason for that except for what we've seen change in the last few years,
Yep.
which is that 90% of the country allegedly went out and got this jab, which has all these chemicals and unnatural things in it, which can shed onto other people. Now, I am so fortunate. I've never gotten the flu in my life. Never. I've been sick once that I can think of, where I was literally bedridden. I think that might have been COVID, but like you, I refused to test. I'm like,
Mhm.
I'm not going to be another number. They're not going
Exactly.
to use me to fear mock. I could have been like on my deathbed, and I'm like, don't test me.
Exactly.
It's just a
Same here.
cold. Yeah,
Yep.
yeah. You will not use me to fearmonger. So, yeah, I'm fortunate that statistically I don't have much to say, and honestly, I don't hang out with a lot of jabbed people, obviously. So, but it does stink to think about, like, if you go to the store and
Yep.
it's crowded, those people are their little Linus with their blanket flying around and
Yep.
spreading stuff. So I think people should be paying attention. I think honestly, like maybe even journaling. Hey,
Yes.
what's my health like now? And then I went to a huge concert and they required the vaccine, and what happened after that. But the reason that I've been promoting the wellness company for 6 months to a year now. Like you guys were on my radar for a long time, and the reason is because I have 3 kids, and I no longer trust
Yeah.
any doctor. I mean, it started with the masking. I yelled at a doctor once for trying to mask us, and I was like, I might not be welcome, but I'm not coming anyway. Um, how did you make your exit, and why? And what was the passion behind? Was there a final straw? What was the straw that broke the camel's back, that you left what is probably a very financially sound occupation slash career to become the people's pharmacist?
Yeah. Well, first and foremost, I became a pharmacist for the people. Like, obviously you read my bio. In
Hmm.
1998, I was right out of high school, started working as a pharmacy technician, and I just loved being in the community. I loved being engaged and having conversation, and it didn't always have to be about medicine or treatment. Now, I believe there's healing in compassion and empathy and having a conversation with someone, brightening up their day, bringing their mood back up. I don't think healing is always uphill. Okay. So for me, knowing that at a young age, I felt that connection to people. And so that's what put me in the idea of, well, this is a good paying job. And I love helping people, and I'm not one for needles. So I'll be a pharmacist and not a medical doctor. And so that's kind of how that journey began. But what I saw through the years was so revealing to me of the actual agenda behind the scenes. Now, I asked people through my years, and nobody had any answers. And they thought I was like you. They thought I was the nut. They're like, okay, Jen, just do your job, fall in line. But because I have a heart for others, I just could not do that. And so the things I started to notice: over prescribing. Over prescribing really jumped in just a few years. And once advertising was on TV for pharmaceuticals, that's all I would see people coming in for. I want what I saw on TV. I have that they mentioned on TV. And it's amazing how by putting an ad out there, people then automatically think they have that condition and they need to be treated for it. So that was the first thing I started noticing. The second thing I started noticing was that the big heads in the companies I worked for pushed and pushed us to fill prescriptions. Well, you can only fill prescriptions if a patient arrives with one. And so one of the eye-opening moments for me when my boss threw papers on the counter at me and he said, "Hey, Jen, you need to get your numbers up." And I said, "What do you want me to do? Make people sick?" And as that rolled off my tongue, I'm like, wait a minute. Like, it just kind of, it was like one of those moments. And I really look back and I call them like God moments, these moments where things were revealed to me that I didn't know at the time until today, looking back and reflecting, he was pointing me to things that I just never knew. So I was never your typical pharmacist. I know he do. I was never your typical pharmacist that was there to follow the guidelines or protocols. And I actually went against the system the whole time. One of the things that people don't know about that takes place in a pharmacy is called medication therapy management. And this comes through the insurance companies. The insurance companies reach out to the pharmacy and they're looking through someone's profile and they'll say, "Hey, your patient, we have a diagnosis of them having diabetes and they're not on a cholesterol medication. You need to get them on a cholesterol medication." They send you a nice, pretty fax to send to the doctor, and the doctor just signs off on it and you get it back and you fill this medication for the patient. The problem is, so the pharmacy will get paid money for every time they fill a recommended therapy based off of this medication therapy management.
Oh, so Jen, this is how you could get your numbers up.
This is how you get your
right?
numbers up. Exactly.
Fax 20 over, get 20 back. Ooh, we had a
there you
successful
go.
day of medicating people.
And the provider is thinking that we've done our due diligence asking for a medication for a patient. I've had some say no, but most just sign off and say, "Yeah, go ahead, add another to their." And people would come in and when they ask, "Oh, I didn't ask for this." "Well, your doctor wrote it." And they just blindly just go, "Okay, the doctor must, think." So I was the opposite of that. I never agreed to patients being put on more medication. I actually took the patients aside and would whisper to them, "Hey, this is what's happening. I need you to do me a favor. Go to your doctor's office and see if there's a way you can let them know because these would keep coming through until we agreed to it. Talk about pressure." So I said, "Go back and let them know this is happening and you do not want to go on this medication." Because I would see patients that they didn't have high cholesterol. So why are we putting them on a preventative? A preventative to stop them from getting high cholesterol just because they were a diabetic patient. I mean, this is what nobody realizes. This is happening behind the scenes.
This is insane. It's insane.
It is.
I'm trying to think, like, I'm 42. Eventually, I'm probably going to get glaucoma and maybe high blood pressure and maybe like my thyroid will screw up. So it's like, let's go on these 3 medications so that doesn't ever happen. And I'm like, but also, what if I work out and eat right? Wouldn't I just maybe never get those? But wow, yeah, I got to tell you, I've told this story before. I was 25 years old. I had inflammation in my knee that was almost unlivable. I couldn't even squat. I was limping most of the time. 25, young, and went to the doctor. He asked me, "Does this happen?" And I answered no to all of them except for one question. And he goes, "Sounds like you have arthritis, rheumatoid arthritis." And I was like, he answered no to most of those questions, but okay. So he referred me to a rheumatoid arthritis. Same thing. "Do you have this? No, no, no. Oh, but you have this." "Well, let's try this medication just in case. It sounds like you have arthritis." I'm like, at 25. So I asked him more questions, which some people don't. Turns out I was going to be on this pill the rest of my life, and it's hard on the liver. So you can't drink alcohol. I'm like, I love wine. I'm also 25. I don't drink alcohol. I took those pills. I never took a single pill. And long story short, later down the road, it was something else. It fixed itself. Actually, probably God healed me.
Yeah.
And I think to myself, I would be on that pill right now for 20 years almost and still be on it for the rest, and that job security, financial security, and you were going to ruin my life at 25
now that one pill, Lindsay, that one pill will turn into 5.
Yes, because it would have caused liver damage. Well, now you need a medication for liver. Well, that is harming your blood pressure. So now you need a blood pressure. Yes. And I think people in America don't understand. No, I think they really don't understand when you watch those crazy commercials that are like, "Do you have leaky bladder? Could cause heart attack, swelling, amnesia, hunger, diarrhea." You're like, hold on a second. That all sounds worse than just a leaky bladder.
Yeah.
Listen to those.
Yeah. And it's intentional. They cause those. You want a customer for life. How do you make a customer for life? How do you make someone keep coming back? You keep creating, like, again, when I said, do you want me to make people sick? That's exactly what's happening behind the scenes. It's
Hmm.
exactly it. It's, we are not set up here, and we always are bragged about America and the healthcare in America. We are not set up putting people first. We are set up putting the big industry first, profit over care. And it did not resonate with me. It did not resonate with me. And for me, the turning point was when I realized I was not helping people behind the counter. I realized as I'm still dispensing medication, trying to make headway, people were so caught up into this idea that I need this pill. I need the pill. If
Right.
the doctor says I need it, why are you telling me I don't? So I knew that I had to somehow get in between the time the patient would see the provider and get a prescription. I didn't want people to start a new medication. I figured if I
Hmm.
can stop them from starting, maybe that would help, and maybe I can help them balance their life with lifestyle changes, right? Because that, like you
Yeah.
say, with your knee, there's so many things that could change instead of just resorting to a pill. It should not be first line therapy. I guess
Right.
it should not be
Yeah.
first line. So I was at the end of 2019 talking to a doctor's office saying, do you need a pharmacist on staff? I want to work alongside the providers and help guide them in medication therapy management. And they said, yes. They said, we'd love to have you. So January of 2020, I put my notice in working as a retail dispensing pharmacist, and I was also long-term care pharmacist, to going into this doctor's office. But then in March, everything happened.
Oh yeah.
Everything happened,
Yeah.
and my life completely changed course. That job was terminated. I was on
Oh,
the sidelines watching everything roll out. I did not feel in my gut to walk back into a pharmacy because I knew I was, it's one of those things you don't, God doesn't ever want you to go backwards. He wants you to always
right.
go forward.
Mm.
So even though I needed a job, right? I had no income. I just could not in good faith go back where I knew I wasn't going to be of help to people. It's not just about the income. So I just said, all right, whatever you ask, I'm here. However you want to open
Yeah.
doors.
Yes.
He just started opening doors. And one of those doors was the wellness company.
So
I
amazing.
got a call early on saying, hey, I know you're a fighter. It was actually Dr. Heather Gessling, a really good friend of
Hmm.
mine. She reached out to me and said, I'm meeting with these people. I want you on the team. And I said, well, what am I? I said, I'm a pharmacist. I said, how am I going to? We need a warrior like you. So I
Mm.
said, I'll be there. And so that's how I entered. And I really believe, honestly, it was walking by faith. It
Yeah.
was because I could
Absolutely.
have turned around and went back into the industry that was
Mm.
honestly heartbreaking to see what was happening. And I always laugh at how when you say God works in mysterious ways, I was trying to fit in locally. I was trying to find a way to do things on a smaller level. And because I guess I asked him, I said, what do you want me to do? He really pulled me out of a local job and called me to be nationally. So I'm going to have
Yeah.
to work alongside the best, and
I don't.
let's get things
I,
done.
Yeah, I don't think people understand, how powerful a story like yours is where we think so small and we have goals that are so small. And when you give it to God and say, if you've really prepared me for something, put me where you need me. And he's like, oh girl, you're going so much higher than what you're thinking. It's just incredible. A couple questions that came to mind, and it's so funny because the question I was writing down, but you were already answering it was, is big pharma a business? And you were saying it's about profit over health. And
Yeah.
another thing that I really want to touch on is I want you to tell people about the program. I can't think of what it's called right now. Freedom from Pharma. Is that right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Tell people about that because at the end of that, I want you to, and this is going to be an incredible soundbite. How do you know when you're being overly medicated? Because some people think, well, my doctor said I need this. Well, I need this. Well, I need this. I know people that are taking way too many medications, and I'm going, are you sure? I mean, I'm not a doctor, but are you sure? So, from a
Yeah.
doctor's mouth, what is your freedom from pharma? How does it work? How do they join? And then how can people tell like if they're a candidate?
Yeah, I'm happy to share because freedom from pharma, I am liberated. So I want to liberate others. I want them to say they can own their own health and live in health sovereignty. And that's really what freedom from pharma is. And it's a journey. Like, it didn't take people, 2 months to get on 10 medications. It's
Right.
a prolonged, years and years and years of that happening. And so to come into a program, it's the beginning steps are small. Okay, let's walk through what are the medical conditions you're told you have, right? Because sometimes they are caused by the medications, sometimes they're caused by lifestyle choices. So let's walk through and see what you're told your medical conditions are. Okay, now let's look through the medications you're on. And the best part of this is who's helping the patients become free are other wellness pharmacists like myself. So how about a kick to big pharma right there? It's like, yeah, exactly. These are pharmacists like myself who saw that the industry was not looking out for people. And the reason we became pharmacists were to help. And
Mhm.
so you come in, you meet with the pharmacist, you go over these basic, low level questions. And then from there, it's like, okay, let's try a supplement, or let's try lifestyle changes. Let's try nutritional changes, small steps. And then once the individual feels that they are capable to then meet with the provider and discuss their medications and start to taper, then that can happen. But a lot of times it's not a few months. This is a journey. This is
Mhm.
time. This is, deep conversations with these pharmacists and going over anything you can think of as to what made you start this medication. How did you get from here, like you're saying, a 25-year-old with just a knee injury, to now maybe someone in their 40s that's now on 5 or 6 different medications?
Gosh.
It's really layers, and it's going through, and it's really good. We've had a few people come in already who were not on a lot of medications but just said, I want to start to come off of these. And we've had
Mhm.
about 15 people now graduate. So for just a short
Wow.
window of having this program, some have come in and said, I just want reassurance to know I'm doing the right things. Can you just help me know, because I don't know who to trust, and I trust
Yeah.
you guys at the wellness company. So we
Yeah.
had a few come in who just needed that reassurance. Some people just want to know what really a diet should look like, because they don't
Mhm.
trust the guidelines that are being put out there now. So they're looking to say, what should I eat? Is it okay to have this? So we have a few like that. And there are patients we are working on right now who are coming off of these toxic medications that they've been using for years, and it numbs them to life. That's the sad part of this whole
Yeah.
thing. They are so disconnected. They have no idea what's happening around them, and they're just covering something that happened in their life at one time just because they didn't know how to deal. And not only not know how to deal with it, you're taught that to feel a negative emotion is wrong. It's part
Right.
of being human, and you have to work through
Yeah.
that. It's not wrong or bad. It's okay. It's okay to have a moment of sadness. It's okay to have anxiety and a struggle at a time. But what's not okay is to pretend it's not real.
Right.
Mask it, because then you're harboring a disease somewhere in your body. So that's what Freedom from Pharma, we're trying to liberate people, give them back ownership over their own health. These are their choices, these are their health goals. And over time, they can start deprescribing one by one at a time, of the unnecessary medications. I mean, you probably hear this, and I believe this. Not all pharmaceuticals are bad. If that were
Right.
true, we wouldn't have ivermectin and hydroxychloroquine.
Haha. True.
So they're not bad, and due to some choices people have made, they need to be on some blood pressure medications and some heart medications. Those are very necessary. But there are medications that people can come in, ask, and seek guidance, and we will help them figure out those medications that they can come off of.
Right. And you know what I think people need to understand and realize is that I believe that we are living in such a harmed, anti-spiritual
Yeah.
culture where joy does not oversee happiness. People are looking for quick happiness, right? And it's almost like doctors have said, well, this will fix this. Okay, well, then I'll be happy. And you're taking it, something else is going on. Okay, well, I need everything to be perfect. So I'll take this medication too, and then I'll be happy. And the chemical imbalance that creates, now they don't even know what their normal is. They don't even know what baseline is because they're so overly medicated. And I believe that what you're offering really is true freedom in knowing, when you wake up in the morning, you don't immediately pump your body full of chemicals to the point where is what I'm feeling normal? Is this pain normal? Is this bloating normal? You know, like, I know when I wake up in the morning, I've had 1 cup of coffee. That's my alteration. Like,
Yeah.
whatever I'm feeling is normal, and there's nothing messing with my body. I mean, I'm trying to go like full toxic free everything. Um, so what are are there symptoms, or is it just, what do you think? What if someone says, well, I'm only on 2 medications, no big deal. Are there certain medications that we're looking for people to try to get off of? Or is it a symptom? Or is it, hey, have you noticed that you've upped your pill intake at once a year consistently? How do people who hear what you're saying go, I think I should call?
Yeah. And definitely, even if you're on one or two, those one or two could be some of the most toxic ones that you could
Mhm.
just stop immediately. And you're not going to know until you actually speak to someone who can guide you along that way. And then, secondly, what if those doses are extremely high? And through lifestyle changes, you don't have to be on such a high dose. You can actually come down and not take as much, and that's actually beneficial for you in the long run too. So it's not so much always about the number of medications. And you're right, if you look back, people again reflect back and look through your own health journey and say, you know what, yeah, I think the doctor did prescribe this and then prescribe that, and then I took this, and I'm using over the counters. That's another one too that's really important for people to realize. Are you adding to your medication regimen over the counter therapies that could be altering and affecting things that are causing you to be on prescription medications? I mean, we know with some of the pain medication like ibuprofen, it really affects the GI system, and has an effect on the absorption of nutrients through the gut. And so then you go to the provider, and the provider says, oh, you've got a GI issue. Let's throw you on Prilosec. Prilosec's going to make it so much worse. Like, again, now you're even decreasing more nutrients being processed in the body and absorbed in the gut, and you're decreasing the acid in your gut, which causes other problems down the road that are going to lead to, again, another medication. So something as simple as an over the counter medication that you just go in and buy and say, I'm just going to use this for pain, can also cause damage down the road. So there's so many layers to this. I just think if someone is hearing this for the first time and they're questioning, saying, I just want to know, come in and have a consult with these pharmacists. Their names are Melissa and Sue. Sweet as anything. They are just loving helping people. And every time we have a good story, I can get teared up saying this, we share it. And it
Mhm.
encourages us because we're actually doing what we could have never done, making our way through pharmacy college and becoming pharmacists. We're actually seeing people recover and live in wellness and own their own health. And there's nothing more empowering than knowing you've helped somebody else.
Absolutely. And when I have ever needed medication, I have walked into, let's say I lived in Oregon forever. I don't know where Kaiser Permanente is, if it's just in Oregon, but I'd walk into Kaiser Permanente, and some random person who is a sloth and looks like they're just daydreaming all day hands me the bag, reads my whatever they got to read me, hands it over. I'm just another blip on their radar, and they're just another blip on my radar. And does that person really know what's going on with my body? Nope. Here's your medication, $29.99. Have a great day. You just said Melissa and Sue. Like, people know that if they go sign up, they're going to talk to Melissa or Sue, not Dr. Frankenberg, and then someone different the next time, and someone different the next time. And are you guys communicating? And did you tell him this? Well, did you tell her this? Or did you write it down? It's like, hi, Melissa. Remember me? Yes, of course I remember you, Lindsay. We have your chart. I'm the same person that you're working with every single time. I remember what you've said. Like that treatment alone, that service alone is so far from what anyone in America is experiencing with big pharma. And I mean, so when you say come see Melissa and Sue, you guys are you exclusively virtual right now?
Correct. Yep.
Okay.
Virtual.
So anyone in America can go to twc.health/Patriot Barbie and sign up to, what is it? It's a monthly membership. You guys do not do insurance, which
Right.
is really good news
Yes.
because they make you jump through hoops to get anything done.
Mm-hmm.
What does it look like to be a member of the wellness company?
Sure. We just launched actually our new membership, which is called One Wellness. And the great thing about One Wellness is it's kind of leading us to where we really saw the need for us is more a primary care outlet, because we really weren't set up originally. And as we've been going, we can kind of mold and shape ourselves to fit that need that people have been asking us for. So under the One Wellness membership is Freedom from Pharma. And with the Freedom from Pharma, you'll have unlimited consults with your wellness pharmacist, again, Melissa or Sue. And then you also have unlimited consults with whoever the provider is in your state. Now, the great thing about us is we're just doing a consult. You know, we can't prescribe, pharmacists can't prescribe, but we can do consults. So we service the entire state through just those two ladies. I have one patient, because when we first started this, it was just me. So the minute we launched this, I had a patient, and because I care about each individual, I wasn't going to let her go. I'm like, no, I'm going to stay as your wellness pharmacist, and we'll work through whatever we need to work through. So the two of those ladies, though, have been taking on everybody else across the nation. And then we have a list of providers across the nation who then can see that patient in that patient state, and that provider will be their whether it's a doctor, a nurse practitioner, a physician's assistant, that will be their provider for their whole journey as well, unless they're no longer available or with us. But everything we want to start, we want it to be with that same person, so that this way it's a relationship. And you don't have to explain yourself, because I'm sure you've run into this too. You have to explain yourself over and over and over again to different people. So we want to have it where it's the same. And what I love about this too, and you probably saw this in the height of everything with COVID, there was a division between pharmacist and doctor. And I am happy to say at the wellness company, we believe in continuity of care. We know it's a team effort. It is communication between the pharmacist and the provider back to the pharmacist, and then including the patient. This is not one person's going to get it all right and do it right. We are working as a team. So that's what I love too, because I saw that division happening. I couldn't believe what I was seeing. And so it's nice to know that we can count on each other and work with each other for the betterment of the people, our patients.
Absolutely. So the doctors that you guys are signing up across the nation, are those going to be in-person doctors? Well, I mean, I know that the chance of me, yeah, okay. But right now they are state by state virtual doctors.
Virtual, correct. Virtual.
Yeah, okay. I think that's amazing. People hate going to the doctor anyway. And you go to the doctor for a 12 o'clock appointment and you sit there till 1 o'clock. And I'm like, this is an all day thing. So,
and you don't have to get yourself all ready, to go out to the office. You can just stay in your comfortable clothes and have the appointment, and you're still visual. So if there's something you say, I've got a rash, or can you check something, you can still see, so they can actually look and say, okay, I can tell by looking at you this, and this. So everything is done, virtually, like we are here on the screen. So they're still able to see and connect and work through any problem. And you get to see the face. I think that's really important. It shouldn't just be a phone call. I believe you can read things by having a conversation like this. So I really encourage people to do the actual video virtual appointment.
Awesome. So they can join the One Wellness program. And then under that is appointments. You guys do supplements and vitamins and the spike support and Freedom from Pharma. So if you're a member of the One Wellness, you pretty much are like in
all
like you get it all.
You get unlimited supplements, unlimited care.
What?
I mean, it's everything. Yes. For $200 a month, you are covered for anything and everything except labs. Labs are not in our network. They're not us, but they're at cost. Yeah. If a patient needs a lab, but everything's included under that. We just launched it. And under that is where Freedom from Pharma lives. But Freedom from Pharma, if somebody say someone just is wanting reassurance, that's listening, one of your guests is listening, and they say, you know what, I really just want to know if I'm doing this right. I don't really want to pay for a whole membership for a whole month. We do have individual visits that can be set up as well, where it's a 15-minute consult with one of the wellness pharmacists, and they will say, you know what, and maybe after that appointment, you'll say, you know what, I really want to continue this journey. I'll now become a member and now stay in this. But we have that option for people because we know that not everybody is going to need to be coming off of medications. And some people just, again, want to just ask a few questions and know they're on the right track and maybe come back in 3 months. Why have a monthly membership if you're going to come back in 3 months? But there are people who need to be seen a couple times a month to still work through everything that they're doing and making sure they're staying healthy and making the right choices.
Yeah, I mean, we are a family of 5, and we're business owners, so we never have
Mhm.
just insurance. Typically, that's like a third of the price of just insurance, and insurance doesn't give you anything. It still nickel and dimes you when you go to an actual doctor. So now you're talking about I'm paying $500 a month, and that's generous
Yeah.
for insurance to cover me so that when I go see a doctor I don't trust, who's probably going to prescribe me something I don't need, you only cover part of it. Like, it's kind of a no-brainer. That's amazing.
It
You
is.
guys are,
It's a great deal. It really is a great
yeah.
deal. I'm really glad we've, because what we had before too is we had the packages. We had long COVID and adverse reaction, and people were, we were listening to the people, right? We're pivoting to what the people are saying they need. The packages were great, except some people are like, well, I don't really need all those labs. Well, I really don't need these number of visits. I could use more. And so trying to figure out how do we answer to the people, because that's where we really genuinely want to help. So we took in everything they said. Those options are still available, but now they're available as unlimited under
Mm,
the One Wellness membership. So if someone is suffering long COVID, they can come in and they can have as many appointments as they need. If someone comes in and they have adverse reaction and they're concerned, and then the provider doesn't have to stick to this lab panel, they can say, well, you've already had a D-dimer, you've already had Epstein-Barr, we'll just do other ones, we'll do other things. Like, there's a way to then now work, not boxing them in. And it's funny because you come in with the mindset you don't want to do that, but we're so trained and programmed to have everything fit in a box. We come out of
mm-hmm.
medical college, pharmacy college, even business, and now you're trying to formulate something. It's actually such a good feeling right now because we're breaking that like, no, we're not doing that. We were trying to still fit into something which isn't what the people want and isn't helping our providers. So now
Yeah.
it's like those walls are gone, and now it's, here is unlimited care, and this is what you guys need, and we're excited to bring that.
Yeah, the unlimited care thing, I mean, that alone, if you didn't believe that you guys were doing this for the right reasons, that alone proves you're not trying to get a extra buck per appointment or an extra buck for this extra service. It's like, we want to take care of you, and when you are a member, we will take care of you at all costs. I think that's just amazing. So, is Spike support under there too? Do your
Yes.
I guess I would assume, yeah.
Yes, unlimited supplements. Spike support is there. I mean, we didn't really get into spike support, but that is amazing. And I mentioned to you earlier, I would get sick every time I would go out. I got the spike support. I've been great since. Been great since. Mm-hmm.
No, that's so
Yes.
weird. How long have you been on it?
Probably 2 months. I think I've been on it for 2 months,
Okay.
and I had to fly to go to an event, and I was super nervous because I was like, oh my gosh, I got to be around. I don't know who I'm sitting next to, and I was just so scared because every time I would fly, it could be small, it could be great. Who knew? Who knew what was
Mhm.
going to happen? And I flew, got back, and I've had nothing, nothing.
Oh my
And
gosh, that's
that has
wild.
not happened. That has not happened to me at all. And the other thing, I don't know if you touch on this, but the women's cycles have been interrupted.
Yep.
So for me too, if I would go out and be exposed for a long amount of time, I would notice that next cycle, especially if it was really close to my exposure, was messed up. So this last time it was very close, no issue. No issue. I was like, this is great. This is fantastic, because I've had a lot of women come to me and say, I'm having problems. It's really heavy. There's clotting. There's, menopausal women were saying they were starting to have, issues again. So for me, I'm speaking from my own experience. I'm using it and I'm seeing amazing benefits, and it's exciting. It's exciting to know I took part in putting this together, and now I can use
Yeah.
it and it's helping me. So that's
Yeah.
really cool.
So men and women we know are experiencing, I mean, honestly, the irregular menstrual cycles, that's just not even a big deal, because some women are actually miscarrying and giving birth to stillborns from this crap.
Yeah.
And studies do show that, like, the amount of babies born stillborn has like gone up 1,000% or something in the last 2 years. But that's just heartbreaking. But for men and women who are listening to this and think, okay, well, I'm still skeptical, I'm still sure you guys are conspiracy theorists. Like, what kind of symptoms could normal people be looking at to decide, should I at least just try this a month? Like, what are we looking for?
Yeah, I mean, if you go out and you notice you're dizzy, you notice maybe you have a headache, tired, fatigue, anything outside of, again, your normal. If you notice you go out and you come home and you're like, something's not right. I'm not feeling the same, even into the next day, try the spike support. And I also want to say add the mito support with the spike support, because a lot of times the mitochondria are the powerhouse of our cell. And when we are inundated with spike, it affects that. So it's really important. I recommend both together, especially if you have extreme fatigue, feeling like, sluggish, can't get out of bed, don't feel motivated. Try those two together and then try it for a month. See how you feel. See how, you're noticing any difference. And again, I love your idea of journaling. People should be journaling. This way they can look back, because you can't remember everything. And then they can look back and read the things they were going through and where they're at today. And then they can, for themselves, kind of analyze their own conspiracy, like they can look through it and say, hey,
Yeah.
it's not really a conspiracy. This is how I'm feeling, and I'm much better. I would not have known unless I tried it myself. I could tell you all day long the scientific facts. We know the ingredients in here. We know what we have inhibiting and neutralizing spike. We know we have, the nattokinase is a huge one everybody's talking about. It degrades and decomposes the spike protein. We have things for inflammation. So I can say that all day long, but using it and experiencing for myself, I'm just so excited now, because it gives me back the confidence to not go out and feel like, okay, what's going to happen this time?
Right.
And trying to bump up my vitamin D, all the things I do have, N-acetylcysteine, everything I have, I've been taking, and it wasn't cutting it. Now with this supplement, the spike support, I still took my vitamin D and my N-acetylcysteine, but I added to it and I was amazed. And because I'm not injected, I didn't take, like, I took it initially for a month, and then I now use it as needed. So I know when I'm going to go out, I know to take this a few days before my entire trip away, and then the few days after I get home, just in case those lingering spikes are around. I don't want them doing any damage.
Okay, that's so good. That's good information too. Some people think, wait, now we just talked about how we're not getting on meds the rest of our life, and now take this med, but this is not a med. This is a supplement, right? And everything is natural in it. Yeah. And you're saying it's not an everyday take the rest of your life, because a lot of people did wonder. So, let's say, for example, my family member, someone in my house got jabbed. Now I got to take this the rest of my life. Do they ever stop? Like you said earlier, they never stop shedding, right? Because it reproduces.
Right.
So I guess that being said, if you live with someone that got it, you may need this more than others.
Correct.
But for people like me, who rarely spend time around jabbed people, I would just need it if I was going to go on a plane or go on vacation or be around somebody that I know got the jab. And that makes it more affordable too. So This is not a, hey, you're going to have to buy this the rest of your life, fear factor. This is a supplement. This is safe. This is natural. It is not going to cause side effects that make you need to be on other supplements. This is just like literally the same analogy. If you have a headache, I'd give you an aspirin. If you're on your period, I'd give you a tampon. If you're going to be around jabbed people, you are being shed on. So this is something that can support and protect you.
Correct. Yeah, that's exactly it.
Awesome.
I think it's important for people to realize that. I don't want to exchange the big pharma pill for the nutraceutical pill at all, by any means. I don't. But I do want to say we are lacking in our food. Our food is no longer full of the nutrients it once was. We are being sprayed on. We have we are being toxified. So we are not getting from our food what we need for nourishment. So supplements, we're going to need certain supplements to stay healthy. That's just now a fact of life. So there are, like, I have to take vitamin D every day. I live in the Northeast. In the summer, I lower my dose because I spend a lot of time out in the natural sunlight to get it naturally. But during these months where I'm kind of unable to do so, I know I've got to bump it up and take more. And so it is kind of one of those things where each individual has to look internally, look at themselves and say, okay, what do I need? Or if they're unsure and they need guidance, it's where the wellness company comes from. They can work with that individual patient through their own health journey to say, okay, these are your mandatory supplements you're going to need, because you're not going to get it from your diet. You're not going to get it from natural sunlight. So here, let's figure out what you do need to take daily. And here are these as needed. And here are these you don't ever need. And that's the best way to figure it out, to work through that.
Amazing. All right. This has been like a wealth of great information. You're the only doctor I probably ever want to talk to again. So.
Oh, no. We got a whole bunch of good ones at the wellness.
Oh my God. Well, I know. Yeah. I'll talk to Melissa or Sue.
Yes.
All right. So the link again for anyone that wants to check out the wellness company is twc.health/Patriot Barbie. Jen, is there anywhere that you want to share that people can follow you privately or message you, or any socials?
Sure. Yeah. I do have a bunch that I've never had social media till I joined the wellness company. So it is like crazy. Yeah, it's crazy. So I have a whole bunch of accounts that you can find me on with the wellness company. So I have a Twitter, Gab, Getter, Truth Social, whatever. I have those. But I have a Telegram that I started way before my wellness company days, because I wanted to be a voice of hope and encouragement. I kept seeing everybody was just replaying the same old sound bites, and I felt this overwhelming urge that I had to just speak truth to people, and in a loving way, and point them to natural ways to stay healthy. And so I have a Telegram that is private, that is me. I post about my chickens and my dog and hiking and some natural things. And that's at Dr. VanDeWater. So you can follow the wellness company ones to know any updates coming from the wellness company. And I really recommend you do. And then if you want to know what's going on with me personally, you can find me on Telegram.
Awesome. All right. And then last thing is our cheers. And are you ready for it?
So I got to tell you, Lindsay, you're going to love this. I was told about this by Kate. So I drink water almost all the time. And I have lemon water today. But I also made a cup of tea, because we harvest our own chaga here in the Northeast where I live. So we made a tincture out of it. So I want to say I brought my tea with chaga, but I'm a girl that likes to have fun. So I also have a little mixed drink here for you too. So this is
it a White Russian?
It's banana cream rum from Kenny Chesney with some heavy cream. So yeah, I get healthy and a little not healthy, but I wanted to bring these along to show you. So
I love it. And that's what we call balance, right? That's what we call balance. I like wine, but I also drink water all day too.
Yep.
All right. So what are we cheersing to, my dear?
Let's cheers to health. Good health for the people.
Love it. I also love that you went with your alcoholic beverage.
It's now watered down. It's been sitting here for a while. Now it's not even, I will.
I'm glad you didn't,
though. Yeah.
I'm glad you didn't drink it along the podcast and then just start getting like, ooh, whoopsie.
That wouldn't be good.
Dr. Jen, thank you so much for, really, honestly, for leaving everything behind, for walking away, for trusting God, and for being the Esther in the pharmacy area of this time. And I believe that you're going to save a lot of lives and change a lot of lives. And I'm personally so honored to just be partnered with you guys, and to be spreading a word that doesn't feed big pharma, doesn't feed big government, doesn't want to hurt and harm people, that really truly wants to take care of people. So thank you for your time and for what you're doing with the wellness company. And I'm sure I'll be seeing plenty more of you.
I can't wait. Thank you, Lindsay.
Thanks for tuning in to the Patriot Barbie podcast. Follow me on Truth Social at the Patriot Barbie and Instagram at the.patriot.barbie. Subscribe, leave a review, and share this podcast with your friends. You can find this show, my book Targeted, and my apparel line on www.patriotbarbie.com. God bless America, and God bless you.
Are you worried about spike proteins and how they may impact your health? Are you looking for help? The Wellness Company has an answer in the form of our clean, pure, all-natural spike formula developed by experts like Dr. Peter McCullough. The Wellness Company's spike formula includes the incredible nattokinase, dandelion root, black sativa extract, green tea, and iris sea moss. Even better, the spike formula by the Wellness Company is vegan, gluten-free, and made right here in the US, so you know that you can trust and rely on it if you're concerned about spike proteins.